the way it was being taught was more of an orchestrated dance than a combat scene. And I remember he punched me in the ribs. And my life flashed before me, man. I was like, geez, bro, what was that? But I quit BJJ.
Yeah.
I full on stopped it. It's a bit of a long story, but I'll tell it.
Tell me. I know the stuff.
Grabs me here, and then just goes,
boom. Oh. Am I going to introduce you?
Yeah,
no, I'm going to get going, mate. I'm not going to lie to you. This is starting now. Any opportunity. How are you, Coach? And are you okay?
I'm good, man. And I'm very well, thank you.
You feeling good?
Yeah, man.
Good, man. Good. So, we're podcasting. This is a very new thing for both of us, right?
Certainly. I've podcasted before, but
have you?
Not rolling, yeah.
Okay. What were you doing with that podcast then?
So, it was to do with a mosque.
Oh, really?
And we did lots of different topics, like, just loads of Islamic-based topics.
That's pretty cool.
We did health and stuff like that as well. But
what, did you do that over at your mosque?
It was an online thing.
Okay.
So I was, again, the technician / forced to be the host.
Forced.
Yeah, forced to be the host. And yeah, so we did that for a while. It was during the lockdown because people couldn't make it to the mosque. And as they couldn't make it to the mosque, we just put it out online just to give people still have a connection to the mosque.
Yeah.
I just help people spend some time.
Yeah. Do you know, that was a weird time, that
COVID.
Yeah,
it was, wasn't it?
Just like 2 years just went and like no one ever really did anything. No one was really together. I remember that first lockdown and I was thinking the first lockdown was class.
Class.
Oh, it was so good. All we used to do is we just used to jump on Xbox all day, mate. It was like the best time. A bit like what I do now besides the podcast. But it was so sick. And then, like, I don't know, it just felt weird that second lockdown when that went in. I don't know. So, I've got a few questions mapped out.
Oh, go on.
And I want to start off first with the early life. Started from the beginning.
Oh, wow.
So, the first time you ever got into... Well, actually, let's not go into Jiu-Jitsu first. Because you started as a judo player, right?
Oh, my first instructor was a judo. The fact that I was a judo player is a bit of an oversight. But my very first instructor was Tony Devine.
Okay.
Who was a pretty elite judo guy. So the throwing aspect of the sport was something that I was exposed to pretty early.
Right.
And it was sick to see someone who knows how to throw.
Yeah.
And knows how to throw with like that technical. It was just exquisite, man. Just seeing these guys being able to throw. It was sick.
All right, fair.
So it does. There are obviously situations to it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you don't have the gi to pull people about, but top level judo guys very much adapt to no gi. Even on like just the pure jiu-jitsu scene.
Yeah.
There's some pretty good, some very good judo guys who can bring that style of judo across to jiu-jitsu.
See, it's something that I do want to try and get more of. Because I always feel like I do somewhat okay when I'm on the ground.
Yeah.
But getting that first engagement in is actually so hard.
From standing.
From standing, anytime you're from standing, it's just like, where do you go in? Because you play that hand fighting game.
Yeah.
And once you're in the hand fight, if you don't win that, you're going straight to the ground anyways. And more often than not, you're always on bottom side. I don't know, it's just a weird one, isn't it?
Yeah, but you got to remember that as well, Kai, that you're relatively new to the sport, right?
This is very true.
Yeah.
So for continuity aspect, I've been doing it for 6 or 8 months now.
Yes.
This is probably the hardest sport I've ever played.
Oh, okay.
Definitely the hardest sport I've ever played. Like, I've been pretty used to doing like football and all these team sports. I used to swim, but this thing's just different, isn't it? It's just like super challenging and that. So would you then say that before you started, when you was with your judo coach,
Yeah.
did you prefer judo first, or did you get introduced to jiu-jitsu and then?
So at the time, it was jiu-jitsu we were learning.
Okay.
But I didn't know the difference.
Oh, okay.
I'm a fresh white belt, right? I don't know the difference. I'm just going to do jiu-jitsu. Yeah. And then eventually, as I got more exposed to different aspects of it, I'm like, I understand. That was judo.
Yeah.
And that was jiu-jitsu.
Okay. So you're training with, what was his name again?
Tony.
Tony. Okay.
Course.
And you're learning this jiu-jitsu, right?
Yeah.
And where do you go from there?
Okay, so that was a 6-month thing.
Okay. And you were how old at that time?
Must have been 15, 16, something like that, somewhere around that. And then he used to come to a community centre near where I lived. And then the funding for that finished. And then I went to his gym, which was in town. So that's where I went to Kickers after that.
Kickers it was called.
Kickers, yeah. So it was above, you know where Jean Junction is?
I do know where Jean Junction is. That's top of town next to Westgate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was above there. It was above there.
See, they've got that Sambo place over there, don't they?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think I've seen one place over there. That's pretty cool. So you go over to his gym, and how long are you over there with him?
Oh, I'm so bad with dates and times.
Dates, times.
Horrible with them. So I was there until they moved. So they moved because, I don't know, something happened, some politics happened. I was too young and stupid to be bothered about it. So that happened and they had to move, and they moved, I don't know even where they moved, up Halifax Road somewhere, I believe.
So you take your journey elsewhere from that point?
Yeah, so then I moved and we moved so then I started doing a little bit of Japanese Jiu-Jitsu.
Okay.
Which was a bit of a waste, but I spent 3.5 years doing that.
Okay. And why would you say it's a waste? Because I've never played it before, I don't know.
So Japanese Jiu-Jitsu and traditional Jiu-Jitsu. I suppose if you learn it in a certain way, it might be useful, but the way it was being taught was more of an orchestrated dance than a combat situation. There was very little sparring to no sparring. And you got your belts if you turned up to the grading.
One of them.
Yeah. I don't remember anyone ever not getting the belt.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you paid your money.
Just sort of keep showing up time.
Yeah.
I get that.
So at the time though, I thought I was invincible.
Right.
I'll be honest with you, like I was sold the dream.
Uh-huh.
I thought I could beat everyone. I was young, right? I thought I could beat everyone in a street fight. I thought you come up to me, I'm gonna block this punch, I'm gonna send you to the ground, I'm gonna snap your arm, and I believed it.
Yeah.
And I got my black belt in it.
Uh-huh.
So I genuinely thought I was invincible.
And then?
So parallel to that, I was doing BJJ, right?
Uh-huh.
And my really, really close friend, by Muhammad Ali, he started doing MMA.
Okay.
So we were running Nova Vida Bradford at the time. We got permission from our coach and we opened something in Bradford, which was the ultimate aim, bring BJJ back to Bradford, right?
Yeah.
And he said, yes, you are allowed. So we opened that, and off the back of that, Coach Muhammad Ali wanted to go into MMA. So he opened something that was called 360 Combat.
Okay.
And we were doing MMA training, and I remembered going into it, and it was against his brother, and I still remember it, against Coach Muhammad's brother, who was Sohail. And I remember he punched me in the ribs. And my life flashed before me, man. I was like, geez, bro, what was that?
What's going on here?
Yeah. I'd never been punched like that before. It literally, like, my whole body shook, and I was just like, wow, what's going on? I promptly went, sack this, and took him to the ground. I went to BJJ.
Straight away.
And later, when afterwards, I was thinking like, I've been doing this Japanese Jiu-Jitsu for 3 years, 4 years, however long, at that time. And the first thing I did when I got hit was went to BJJ.
Sort of tells its own story.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And I was like, okay. And I went to a couple more of the MMA sessions. And I realized that, like, I'm not using these Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, these inside forearm blocks and cross blocks. When someone's jabbing you in the head,
Different story.
none of them, I can't do an inside like forearm block because he's smacking me in the head too fast. So I realized BJJ is the way to go, and I sacked it off.
I suppose that tells itself, really, then, doesn't it, with what you've just said? That Japanese Jiu-Jitsu has very little to no sparring, right?
At the time, it had no sparring. And they had some groundwork sparring.
Yeah.
But then something happened and they cancelled that as well.
Oh, because someone had got like severely injured.
Yeah, so that was the story. Someone got really injured, and the insurance wouldn't cover it.
Oh, okay.
Is what the story we were told at the time. What actually happened, I don't know. But that's what we were told. So we weren't doing any groundwork either.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And at the time, I had this interesting dynamic where I'd go BJJ, learn a move, come to Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, and try it.
Yeah.
But then they stopped that as well, and then I'm like,
Well,
what am I doing this for? Like, I know it doesn't work. They don't let me test out my BJJ stuff anymore. And I was like, yeah.
So it goes back to that point, really, then. It's a famous saying that you've always said to me, and it's like the mats don't lie, right?
Mats don't lie.
Mats don't lie. And I've had a couple of experiences with that, for definite. Because these mats, they definitely don't lie. If any mats don't lie, it's these ones, man. I'm sick of it at this point. I'm not even going to lie to you. Cameras, this, that, or the other, forget about it. End of the day, if you come down here, it's a long day. It's a long day, mate. 100% it's a long day. But with the mats not lying, then, I think it segues onto a nice little point. Have you ever had them days, like I know I definitely have, where you feel like this is just not working, you're not flowing, or even deeper than that? Have you ever had days where you want to stop, where it's not quite worked, where you're thinking, oh, I don't know if I can do this anymore?
Now, not so much. But I quit BJJ.
Yeah.
I full on stopped it. I remember the 2 points when it happened was one where I was at AVT at the time, and there was a guy who outweighed me, and I remember going on. I shot to his legs, and I remember I just hit with my head. I hit his leg, and all my spine just went, like tick 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 tick, tick all the way down my spine. All the way down. I felt this shock down my spine. It just spiked me, and I was just like, geez, what happened there?
Yeah.
Now, in hindsight, my technique must have been crap. Right? By the time, I thought, this guy's too big. And it put massive doubt, because the whole thing of BJJ is the smaller technical guy can beat the bigger, not so technical guy, right?
Yeah.
I was a purple belt, this guy was a white. You know what I mean?
So that puts into...
That takedown should have taken him out. But again, like going back to the Matt Stone line, right? My technique's shit. It doesn't matter if it's a white belt.
It won't work.
It won't work, right? But at the time, I thought my technique was like Gordon Ryan style, even though he wasn't a thing then. But I was like, my technique is perfect, and this guy should have gone flying. And I doubted myself. I didn't doubt myself. I doubted jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And then I went up against the same guy a little bit later. He's a blue belt by now, must have got promoted, but I remember him being a blue belt. And I'm a purple, and I was mauling him, like killing this guy. And then he just turned, and just because he was heavier than me, as he turned, he got on top. Now again, my technique must have been rubbish, but I didn't know it.
Yeah.
I'm like, how can this guy sweep me? Like, again, and I'm just like, wow, what's going on? And I just doubted jiu-jitsu. I'm just like, no, they're chatting shit. I'm like, the smaller guy can't beat the bigger guy. It just doesn't work. So I quit jiu-jitsu, man.
And how long did you quit for?
It was a year and a half before I got back into it. And I just went into powerlifting.
Yeah.
And I went from I want to say about 80 kilos.
So 80 kilo before you started?
Yeah, I was 77 to 80 kilos is about where that was.
And was that walking weight?
Yeah, about walking weight.
Okay.
Up to pretty much 95. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the opposite of what I did. So when I first started here, I was about 92 kilos.
Okay.
But I was very heavy. Like I'd put on a hell of a lot of weight and it wasn't muscle. I know that much, it wasn't muscle. And I think as I weighed in today, I think I'm about 81, was it, on the thingies?
Oh, wow.
But the lowest I ever got to was 74.
Oh.
Big. And that was in like 4 or 5 months. Like, I look back at some of the pictures, you know, from the first days and stuff, and like on the ring cameras.
Yeah.
And I look back and there's a funny one. There's me and Ahmed, right? We've just finished a roll. It's like week 1, week 2. And he's there smiling at the cameras at Shiraz like this.
Yeah.
And you see me and I'm on this black wall. I'll sit in here, like, if that's a black wall.
Yeah.
And I'm just like that. Eyes closed and everything, mate. And it's horrific. But I don't know, I think them stories are always the best. Like the times where you struggled and then you can laugh about it after.
Yeah.
But if we go back to you then with this one, so you quit
Yeah.
for a year and a half.
Didn't do any jiu-jitsu.
No jiu-jitsu, powerlifting.
The squats, deadlift, bench, that's all I did. And I got fascinated with it. Like, there's one thing going to the gym, but I'm a software developer by trade, so everything should be data driven and logic, right?
Yeah.
And when I was going to the gym, I was just been given like bro science, and it wasn't doing it for me. I didn't understand. So
I'm finished up.
so I started studying, and I just studied. So I got a sports science background anyway, a little bit. So I started studying like what we need, and that's I started reading about loads of stuff. But in essence, what caught my eye was this program called Starting Strength.
Okay.
And you know when something just clicked. And Mark Ripito, the guy who kind of at the head of it, he's a no nonsense guy. Like, don't take any BS. And I was like, this guy is talking sense, man.
Yeah.
So I bought the books, I started reading the books, and I'm not a big reader. So I started reading the book, started studying it, all the form checks, and I even posted on forums to get my form checked. So I proper just heart and soul went into it. Started making stupid gains, man. I started eating ridiculous amounts just so I could put weight on. And boom, I hit all the numbers I put down. I wrote down the numbers I wanted. I just hit them all.
So what were your max numbers then?
Do
you remember?
Of course I remember.
Go on.
Everyone
Everyone
going
knows the
there.
max numbers.
I do need to go there. Allow it. We don't need to
You
go
don't
there.
want to go there?
Never mind. I had decent numbers.
I'll ask you after the camera.
Okay.
So, you get into powerlifting.
Yeah.
You're doing well at powerlifting, I'm
Yeah.
presuming, right?
Yeah.
So what brings you back?
It's a bit of a long story, but I'll tell it.
Tell me. I know which story. This blows my head. Wait for this one. Go on. You go on.
My eldest son, Omar, is playing for Fairbank United.
Yes.
And it's the off season now.
Right.
And he's a goalkeeper. And my brother's big into football. So someone contacts my brother saying that they need a keeper for this tournament they're going to in Newcastle. And he puts my son forward. Now my son doesn't want to go. And neither do I, because why am I going to go Newcastle for a team that he doesn't play for?
That he's not bothered about.
And a person I don't know. But it's my elder brother.
Yeah.
And after I said no, he said I wasn't really asking. So, you know, I wasn't really asking, you're going. And I'm like, hang on a second, I'm paying for this. But alright, whatever. Big brother says that me and Umar travel over to Newcastle, meet up for these guys for the first time, and stay in the hotel. And then the next day is the game, right?
Yep.
And Umar plays. And whilst we were watching, this guy seems to know me, but I don't really know this guy, if I'm honest.
Okay.
And he's like, oh, I own this gym. And he starts showing me CCTV footage of this gym. And he says, you should come, we do BJJ. I'm like, I don't really do that anymore, my brother.
This is the
Yeah.
Sure.
And he's like, no, you gotta come. Takes my number. And I'm being pleasant, I'm being nice. I'm like, yeah, I'll come. With no intention. With no intention of going. I just like, I don't do that no more. And then once we're back home now, he's messaging me non-stop. Like, are you coming? Monday, are you coming on Monday? I'm like, yeah. Oh, sorry, something came up. Yeah, something. I'm like, you know what? Talk to Omar. I'm like, Omar, let's just go. Let's just get it done. At least then it's done.
Yeah. You've been once, you've shown your face.
That's it. Right? Show my face, get my gi out, and we're done.
Yeah.
So I went, and it's James, who's a black belt at Game Fight. He's taking the class. And I've rolled with James before. James is a really good coach. So we do the class, and it's time to spar. I don't remember what was shown in the class, if I'm honest, but I remember the sparring. So I went with the two brothers who train here now, is Issy and Adam.
Yes.
I just remember having a super hard roll with both of them. And I'm thinking again, like, these are white belts. I should be smashing these guys. And I remember taking one of their backs, but I couldn't do anything from there.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what on earth is going on here?
And this is even after all the powerlifting, so you also
right? So I'm significantly stronger than both of them.
Yeah.
These guys are weighing like in the low 80s. If they were, like, Issy's doing weigh 80. Issy weighs like...
What does he comp at? Is he at 78 usually?
No, he goes into 60 category.
He goes into 60?
67 or something he competes at. Or 63 even. Like, he's particularly like super strong, but...
Super lean.
Yeah. But compared to me at 95...
Yeah, that's...
you know what I mean? So there's a weight difference here. So there's that. And then Adam's super strong at whatever weight. But again, if I'm at 95... that shouldn't be too much of a problem either.
No.
So I struggled through them. I'm like, okay, but at least I didn't lose, and we had
a year and a half out.
Yeah, I'm talking to myself. I'm like, this is okay. Then I went up against Bigger Bass.
To put a bit of context on it, Bigger Bass is very big. But the point with Bigger Bass is, well, not the point, the whole thing with Bigger Bass is he's got these dangly, strong legs, right? And I'll be honest with you, I've been stuck in his guard for so long. I don't think I've ever passed on him. Like, I can't think of a time I've passed besides one double underpass. And it was like sheer luck. Like, the guy, he's too good, man.
He's literally good. 100%. And I remember going up against him, and yeah, I remember the roll like it was like something no man's right. So I pulled guard on him.
Right.
So he's passing. And after a couple of minutes, he passes my guard. And he catches me with the Kimura. And I'm just like, okay, he got me, I tapped. I'm like, all right, but now I'm going to pass.
Yeah.
I don't know this guy. I run into this guard. With the legs everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm trying everything to get past this guard. And the buzzer goes for time. Don't get past this guard.
You get past the guard.
And I might have had other roles after this. Don't remember them.
Yeah.
Don't remember them. That stuck in my mind.
That's the one that's in your head.
And I remember walking out thinking, what the hell happened there? Like, you talk about where you defeated. That day I walked away defeated.
Yeah,
like
devastated.
I was in the gutter. I thought, I don't know Jiu-Jitsu. I spent 15 years of my life doing this at this point. Like, yeah, all them bad things that all these white belts think.
Yeah.
Think about having them 15 years in. I've already think this martial art doesn't work.
Yeah.
Now, Bigger Bass was big.
Yeah.
But I weighed nearly the same as Bigger Bass at the time.
Yeah.
I wasn't that far off. I was definitely stronger than him. I could have picked this guy and thrown him across the room. Yeah, so it wasn't a strength thing. So now everything going, if you go back, I left because I was thinking the small person, the lie of the small person could beat the big person, right? So my whole thing now is I'm just going to get big.
Yeah.
Because the big person, it doesn't matter because you're big now, right? So now I'm big. I'm still losing. So I spent a year and a half getting strong, and I'm still losing. And I'm just like, I just can't work this conundrum out in my head.
Yeah.
And this whole thing about I'm gonna go back have one session, stop this guy from annoying me. The next day I woke up, I'm like, I can't leave it like that.
Yeah. Like you have to get back on the mat.
I can't leave it like that. And they say leave your ego at the door, but I think my ego was so bruised.
It had to come back again. But at least it brought you back, right?
I was just like, geez. So I came back. I was like, no, I'm coming back. And I came back.
And you came back.
I went back again and again and again. And now look at me, I'm running the play with the help of all these guys.
Yeah.
We're doing Game 5 Bradford.
Mental, isn't it? Yeah. So just to cap that off, that whole story, what you're telling me is that the reason why you're here today, and eventually why I'm here today, why all the boys are here in this building, is simply because Umar had a game in Newcastle that he didn't want to play. Yes, that's literally what it boils down to. That's absolutely mental. And you know, Umar's told me a little bit of that story as well before, and he told me he threw that game on purpose. he actually threw that game. I don't know if your brother knows about that, so
I don't think my brother cares.
I don't think he cares at this point. But
he probably, and if you think about it, like, Jiu-Jitsu for me started because my brother got some funding and no one turned up.
Yeah.
And he forced me to go to Jiu-Jitsu.
That's mental.
And I didn't want to go.
Yeah.
So I was back when I started, right? And now, again, with the restart of Jiu-Jitsu,
yeah,
it's to do with my brother forcing me to go to Newcastle when I don't want to go to Newcastle.
Anytime you're forced into this game, it just grabs you. That's what it is. And you know, I wasn't necessarily forced into this game. I just didn't know what it was, right?
Yes.
So, to give you a bit of my story, and I'll only brief over it.
No, I remember this.
So, oh no, so embarrassing. Right. My sister's boyfriend, he also plays jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
He started as a world's strongest man though.
Oh, wow.
So he was in the middleweight category, I believe. I'll double check it over with him.
Yeah.
Thingy. And he used to compete at that. And then about 3 or 4 years ago, he started doing jiu-jitsu. He met my sister, I'd say about 2 years ago, coming up to now. But he lives down in Bristol. So when he comes up, he's just one of them guys that constantly wants to trip. Like all the time. If he's not working, he's training. That's the only thing he does. He's proper like mindset on, gets locked in, right? So he starts messaging you before even I have an idea.
Yeah.
And he's trying to figure out a gym that he can go to train, just have some light rolls anytime he comes up here.
Yeah.
And he came up one time, I think it was probably about only like the 4th or 5th time that I met him. And he's like, right, Kai, come on, we're going training. Now, going back to my point, I was 92 kgs. I did not like going to gym. I did not like doing exercise. I was quite happy being just unhealthy to a certain extent, right? Like, not overly unhealthy, but at least a little bit. And I was quite happy in my little bubble. So I was like, okay, I'll go with you, but I don't really want to. I'll roll around on the mats, and then I'll keep him happy, right? We'll spend an hour or two. We'll call it a bonding session, whatever. So me and him are on the mats, and I'm messing about with him, probably for about half an hour. And you and Z and Shiraz are in, right?
Okay.
And I believe it's, because they were the first people I met for definite. And I didn't roll with any of them. But Big Kai had a roll with you first or second, first. And you guys had a good little match going on.
Yeah.
So Big Kai's big on his wrestling, but once he gets to the jiu-jitsu, obviously, the brown belt at the time, actually, that's obviously how the game goes, right? And Big Kai, at that time, was a white belt, which was the longest overdue white belt. He only got his blue belt like 2 weeks ago. And he's been at white belt for about 3 or 4 years, and he really shouldn't have been. It's been a bit sandbaggy, to be honest with you. But what can you do? But he brings me down, right? So we're here, I'm rolling about with him, and then I have my first roll with you, right? And all I remember, is being butterfly swept 6 or 7 times in a row. There's about a 2-minute video of me rolling. I'm panting, and I've still got this video to this day. I might even send it to you, and you can clip it in. Because it's funny, right? I'm panting after like 2 minutes. I've been butterfly swept about 6 or 7 times. It's just the funniest video ever. And I just remember being in that moment being like, I did not know I was seriously bad at this. Like, I didn't know it existed before, right? So it's a bit similar to you in that sense, like, oh, I have these self-doubts, I can't leave it like this, etc. So there's a little bit of that with me, but more, I didn't have a clue what I was doing, and I didn't like how, I remember not liking how I felt after that I just got manhandled that long.
It's not a good feeling where you can,
Really not, man.
another person can just do that to you.
Yeah, and it's like I had absolutely no control on that situation. Like, you are like one of the nicest men I've ever met. Like, down to earth, humble, everything like that. So it's all like a lovely joke and this, that, and the other. But say that you wasn't like just in that thingy, like you could have done absolutely anything that day, and I'd have had no what to do about it.
You get that feedback quite a lot from people, you know, when they first come in.
Yeah.
And you roll with them, and they're like, "Oh, don't take it easy on me, go." Because I'll typically I won't maul people. I'll playfully have a roll with them, and they're like, "No, don't go easy, don't go easy."
Yeah.
And afterwards, if you ask them, like, "What happened to that?" I don't understand how another man can just do whatever they like. Go on, you could have done what you wanted.
Yeah.
At that point in time, I couldn't. There was no resistance.
Literally, no.
Especially after like a minute in. And people just, at that point...
Cardio's gone.
Yeah, because they
stopped working.
100%.
You just freeze.
People give up.
Yeah, it's that giving up and people freeze. I remember first few sessions when I froze. Like, once someone passes your guard, like, you think, right, get your legs around them. Oh, my legs are no longer around them. And you're just stuck in this awful side control, and you're just thinking, well, what's the point? Like, what am I doing here? Like, I can't get my frames in anyways. He's not letting me through. Like, there's nothing that I can do in this situation. It is literally just being manhandled. It's weird, man. But I think I don't know what you'd think about this. I'll ask your opinion in a sec. But I think more than anything, it's the fact that you're so helpless the first time and you realise it. And if you've got enough gumption and enough, you can swallow your own pride.
There's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah, if you can swallow your own pride about it, you will come back because you just don't ever want to be that helpless again, right?
Yeah, 100%.
What do you think?
I think you're right. Like, Jiu-Jitsu can help anyone, right?
Yeah.
And it's not a physical thing that's going to stop you. The thing that's going to stop you is mentally, are you able to take it?
Yeah.
Because it's hard. It's hard to get, like, even today, right? I'll go find people who can beat me.
Yeah.
And people ask me all the time, like, well, how do you get better? Like, I get better by finding people who can beat me.
And then working to beat them.
And then even if the person can't overall beat me, I'll just put myself in a really crap position. And then get battered.
Yeah.
And that's where you get better, thinking, damn, I put my hand here, I should have put my hand there.
Yeah.
You know, the little things.
Yeah. You have to make the mistakes, though, right?
100%.
Before.
And it's not like I can drill a move. I can watch an instructional and drill a move 100 times.
Yeah.
But until that happens in a roll, I haven't learned it yet.
Yeah, it's situational until it actually happens, right?
And then it happens, I'm like, I know what to do in that situation. I missed this, I missed that. So, yeah.
So, moving on from that then, the day that I first came in. Actually, let's take it back. So, when you finished and you was over with the guys, you'd just been beaten by a bigger boss, and then now you're at this point now where you're teaching. So how does that journey continue? You keep going back to the classes.
So now we start going to Leeds.
Okay.
So this is where we go to Leeds, meet up with Coach Mabsy. There's that introduction.
Yeah, which we just did that podcast with him last week.
We did.
And that'll be out, today is the day we're filming.
Yeah, so it'll be at 6 o'clock on the 11th.
Is it the 11th today? I don't know, but yeah, whatever it is.
We release the podcast every Sunday at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
So we did that yesterday. So I met Coach, and I remember the first roll with Coach.
Okay.
And so Coach is an older athlete, right? And I still remember, so stand up over me. So I was standing up. So stand up over me.
Yep.
And he was sitting like this. And we're wearing the gear, and I'm leaning forward, right? So I'm getting ready to take a grip, right? And as I come in to take the grip on the collar, he takes my grip, grabs me here, and then just goes
Oh, with the head.
with the head, with the head and with the, and I go flying.
Yeah.
I sat on my backside. I'm like, okay, it's gonna be one of them rolls. So I'm like, at this point, I'm getting back into jiu-jitsu, so I'm getting my flow back.
Yeah.
Right? So like my technique's getting better, and I'm strong.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm just like, okay, this thing is coming together now, right? And he just pinned me to the ground. Like I couldn't, like I was stuck from that point onwards.
Yeah.
Stuck to the ground. Right? But I'm like, okay, just don't get tapped. This guy's a black belt, just don't get tapped.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's sort of a win, right?
Yeah, if I don't get tapped by this guy, I'm all right. Right? So I'm defending, looking up at the clock. Right? There's a minute left. I'm like, I can hold a minute. And then he catches me.
With?
He can't go with calf slice.
Okay, go on, put a calf slice in.
So I don't even remember how he did it. If I'm honest, I just remember this awful pain in my calf.
Right.
I'm like tapped. I'm like, I didn't make it. I didn't make it. So there was a loss. That fact that I had a target in my head and I didn't make it. But he was like, again, the nicest. And eventually I went and I asked him permission. I'm like, listen, can I take over and start running some of these classes? Because at the time, Game Fight Bradford was just running on a Monday. That's it.
Nothing else.
Nothing else. I went, do you mind if I do a Wednesday? And I talked to Coach Maja. I went, you do the Friday. So at least let's get 3 sessions on.
Yeah.
And then eventually I took over Monday and Wednesday. And I did some Fridays when Coach couldn't make it.
Yeah.
And then stuff happened and we had to move out of that place. And then we came to this place.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, actually, let's just do it every day.
Yeah, and just bang it on. Because there's classes on every single day now.
Every single day there's something on.
There's something going on.
Yeah, and I think like you can either train super hard a couple of times a week, and that works for some people because I understand that it's not a living for us, right? We're doing this sport because we love the sport, we're keeping fit and all that stuff, right? But I'm much more of the mentality if you do a little bit every day, you'll get better. So I need to have on something every day for someone.
Yeah.
So that's what we do. We got something on every day for someone.
And just keep it flowing, right?
Yeah.
So, that brings me on perfect. So that's basically early life up to today, right?
Yeah.
So that brings me on with being a coach, right? How's that journey been? So you've been coaching for 2-3 years? Go on, how long?
I've been coaching for closer to 10.
Closer to 10 years?
Yeah. So
really? Okay, I thought it was like 3.
So that's a year.
Okay, I'm with you.
So we started coaching, me and Coach Muhammad Ali started coaching when we were in Nova Vida.
Got ya.
So when we were blue belts, back then, it was very rare to have like black belts up this area. So we asked for permission from our coach at the time. Can we start up a club in Bradford?
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, of course you can. So we started Game Fight Bradford. Not Game Fight Bradford, Nova Vida Bradford back then.
Yeah.
And then we went forward and back to a couple of different locations. It was once a week. Then it was kids only.
Right.
And then I stopped for a little while because we didn't have a place. And then this happened. So it's been much closer to 10 years.
Yeah, so a lot longer than I thought then, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And what do you find about coaching that's either so enjoyable or what you worry about? What is the main thing about coaching that keeps you coming back?
It's not so much not so much keeping me coming back, but one thing that you will find in coaching is it improves your technique.
Okay.
Because if I have to break something down, and I do this today, you break something down and you go around the class. Some people get it, some people don't. I'm like, I gotta break it down more.
Yeah.
I gotta break it down more. But then some other people, you look at them and they're getting bored, like, I know this. And that constant adapting means that I have to know the technique to a detail where I can go into the nth degree with this guy, but just give this guy really broad strokes.
The general stuff.
Yeah, so because he knows all the little technique because he's done it before.
Yeah.
And that constant balancing, that's awesome. I enjoyed that. But what I really enjoy is the kids' classes.
Yeah.
And the kids' classes, to be seeing the kids when they come in, and a lot of them are not very confident.
No.
Pretty much none of them know how to move on the floor.
None of them.
Yeah, and like yesterday we had a kids comp, and seeing these little shy kids just starting to blossom,
Yeah.
and being confident on the mats, throwing up arm bars like.
Yeah, everyone was throwing arm bars yesterday. I don't know where even that came from.
Throwing up arm bars, like trying to do takedowns, just like you could see they were nervous from comp, and that's what we want them to be, because that's what we're trying to build.
Yeah.
But the fact that they did it, they came, they competed,
Yeah.
did it super well, and their progression. So sometimes I remember there was one kid yesterday who he had 3 matches last year, and he cried in all 3.
Yeah.
Lost them, got gold. Yeah.
Got gold.
Got gold.
Mad.
You know what I mean? You just like look at the progression. 1 year he just stuck with it.
Yeah.
Like,
Just kept through.
cut through, dominated with the other kids on the mat this time.
Yeah.
Had some hard matches, got through them.
Yeah.
And just like, okay.
The nail becomes the hammer.
100%. It's a famous Jiu-Jitsu saying, but yeah, he became the hammer.
So, kids coaching.
And even the adults, man. The adults are like, adults are fascinating.
Yeah.
They really are. Like, the kids are cool because you tell them to do something and they'll do it. They trust you.
Yeah.
But you got to gain trust with the adults.
Yeah.
I've seen so many people come in and they look and they're like, this guy really going to teach me jiu-jitsu? You know what I mean? Like, I could smash this guy.
Yeah, and then it takes that first session.
Yeah.
You go, oh, hold on a minute.
And then you're like, is this guy going to come back? Is he not going to come back? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then about the club, learning how to run the club, because I just want to do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a businessman.
You don't want to do admin. I know that much you don't want to do that.
I hate admin with an absolute passion. But here I am, like, trying to do Facebook posts and admin, and
Sorting out kids with their subscriptions.
merch, and then all this stuff. And then I'm just like, "Gosh, can we just do jiu-jitsu, please?
Can we just run?
Yeah, can we just, we'll just fix it on the mat. If you've got a problem, we just fix it on the mat.
Yeah.
So yeah, just all of that stuff is new. But I love learning new skills, right? And even in jiu-jitsu, I still love learning new skills. And I just found running the business of game fight just as a new skill.
Yeah. So, we're basically up to present day, right?
Pretty much.
So where would you want to go in the future? What else are you thinking?
So this place there's a great thing that one of my business coaches tells me a lot. Right? And it's going from good to great. And that's what I'm trying to do with this place now.
Yeah.
Right? Because I think we're good.
Yeah, we're definitely good.
Yeah.
I think culture-wise as well, like the lads in the adults class and stuff,
Yeah.
everyone's like proper helpful. It's just got that right mentality. Everyone smashes everyone. Like, there's never really easy roles, especially with people like Masab and Doc. They're like the two, and you just sort of, you know when they happen, right? Cassie, he doesn't really come as much, does he?
But when he comes, you know
But when
he's
he
here.
comes, you know about it, right? Because I was floor rolling with him about 3 days ago, and I came off with a sweat from floor rolling.
And he's just looking immaculate.
He looks absolutely fine, like he's not bothered. He goes, yeah, that was good, man. That was good. And you're just there, like, dripping sweat.
And even big about us.
Yeah, another one. Everyone there, Killers, Adam, Half Guard Issy.
Yeah.
That's it. That's just to name a few. Like, there's loads of people. And then there's loads of people with good potential as well. So I've just started out last couple of months. I just kicked you in the head there, didn't I?
All right.
But, yeah, they've just started out. And they're trying to get there. And they're on the journey now, right?
Yeah.
And they're hooked. So
the next thing is to get this place to great.
okay.
So one is the physical place, and the other thing is from technically. So I need to keep learning, so I can go from good to great as a coach. And that's why you see me sometimes in these horrible crap positions.
Yeah.
Because I need to be there. Because I'm like, I've seen something, and just like everyone else sees some stuff, I'm like, I'm testing it. Does this work? Does it not work? Am I going to teach this? Am I not going to teach this? So I end up in some horrible positions, but I'm just like, yeah, let's go.
And is that how you really decide what is next on the syllabus to teach?
So the syllabus has been decided a year before,
Okay.
but like the next year's syllabus needs to be, and the next iteration, because the way it works is we'll go through it, we'll go through a syllabus, but we're gonna do arm bars again. We're gonna do triangles again. We're gonna do back control again, and we're gonna do everything again and again and again and again. So what's the next iteration of this? What's the next evolution of it? Because the game's growing.
Yeah.
So if we stay still, like the game's gonna move.
Yeah.
So what's the next set of attacks from 50-50? So I need to keep. So whilst you guys are learning your arm bars, I'm doing next year's syllabus.
So you're always one level ahead.
Yeah, I have to be. That's what I'm trying. So when you see me at comp, I remember a couple of comps where I've just gone in and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna try stuff like the Hawkins.
I love it. We'll go through that in a minute. It's no like. Do people know about the Hawkins? I don't know. You know,
it's not proprietary.
It's not
something I've made up.
No,
it's out there.
It is out there. But like, even I tried looking for it after you first showed me it, and I was like, "Whoa, this is magical!" Like them little moments in jiu-jitsu, they're the ones that get me, right? So when you figure out something so simple that you don't think would ever work, and it does, is the weirdest thing. But it gives you that little glimmer of hope, is what you're looking for.
This can work, 100%. So it's stuff like that. So I remember when I first saw Hawkins, I was just like, I like all the principles. Are wrong. Like you're turning your back. You know what I mean? Your arms are down. You know what I mean? So I discovered it when it was the Hawkins 1.0. And I'm like, we've got to try it. And I came here and I tried it. I'm like, oh, that works.
It's got substance.
And then I just kept going. And I remember going to a comp and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go defensive. Right? All these principles from Hawkins, I'm just going to try it in comp. I had no intention of getting gold in that comp. Like, no, I didn't get gold. Okay. I got smashed because Hawkins is super defensive position.
So where were we up to? We were talking about the Hawkins system, right?
Well, so I remember seeing it and thinking, I'm not so sure about it. And then, I tried it here a couple of times and it worked. I was like, and I had to tweak a couple of things. And then I remember I went to a personal with someone, a black belt. And I tried it on them and it worked. And eventually he caught me. But in the most, like 90% of it worked. I'm like, and that thing he caught me with, I'm like, we can work on that. So then I went to work on that and then I went with another black belt. I just booked a personal. I'm like, come here. Because I needed people to try it on. Like, I could try it on these boys, but is that really fair? So I was like, no. So I found this black belt, did a PT with him, tried the system, and again, it worked. Got caught in something else. And I'm just like, okay, let's go. So, and then I went to comp. I'm like, okay, I tried it with these guys and it's worked. Let's see what happens at comp. And at comp, it worked. I'm like, gee, because at comp, people literally are trying to kill you, right? You know what I mean?
The all and end all.
100%.
Everyone puts it on the line.
So I'm like, if it works in comp, it works. And then I started teaching it a little bit. And we haven't taught the full system here yet.
No.
But we will.
So it's up to you then, really. Do you want to go through it right now, or should we save that for another day?
That's another day.
It's another day.
Yeah, people are not interested in technique right now.
I don't know.
You know it already. You already know it.
I do already know it, but I don't know if I play it perfectly yet. Because I think, when I get into Hawkins, I always think it's easier to run out the back as opposed to face in, right? Because it's like Hawkins and reverse Hawkins or whatever it is. But I don't know. I definitely find it easier to run away than it is to run into. Sort of.
But you'll find your style with it.
As
you play it more.
I think if Hawkins is super defensive, I have the super defensive version of the super defensive, and that's the only thing. And don't get tapped. That's literally don't get tapped. Don't shoot for nothing, but don't get tapped. But, so, if we're talking about Hawkins, and I'd probably say it's one of my favourite systems, just because it looks like it shouldn't work, and it does. What would you say yours is? Like, what's your go-to bread and butter?
So, my go-to in terms of passing is half guard.
Okay.
I'll pass from half guard. That's where I want to pass from. And then my submission is armbar.
Submission is armbar.
I'll do it like
I know about them. I know about them. So, if you're in half guard, how would you play it?
So I like the pressure, right? So I like head goes to the far side.
Yep.
And I need to beat the knee. And then I'm just pummeling the legs,
Yeah, and you're just working your way through.
working my way
See,
through
I always liked that one. If I come into your half guard,
that.
I always like to pick my feet, and that always seems the most natural.
Doing what?
So, say we're in this position, right? And we've got this knee in the way.
Yeah.
If I can flatten it, pressure over, and then coming down with this one.
Yes.
But there's consistencies and there's inconsistencies with mine. So sometimes I find it a struggle to even get that foot in the first place. Sometimes I find myself on an off balance and getting swept
Okay.
like straight through. But it's just one of them where you try and work it out, right?
Or ask the coach and he'll
All
sort
right.
it out.
So you've had feeling, word improving, and how did you get around?
I think we've gone through that story, right?
Really, didn't we? So was that the longest part?
Yeah, that was the longest. So
To be fair, it was a year and a half.
No, it was long enough to make me quit.
Long enough to make you quit and then come back. Let me see what So, another one. So, this is the one actually. It's the whole gi or no gi. So, what do you prefer, coach? Because I know that majority of the time you teach no gi, right?
I do, yes.
And I think that's definitely a favourite from all the boys. It's definitely a favourite of mine compared to the gi. Until about Tuesday. And Tuesday I did alright in a gi and I was like, okay, maybe I have to make a switch here, we'll see. But what do you prefer more than anything?
So I started in the gi. And therefore I have an affinity towards the gi.
Yeah.
Because it's where I started. And whenever I put the gi on, even after doing a long spell without it, I'm just like, oh, I like this.
This is back to home.
The control and that side of it. But I also really enjoy no gi. And I don't think it's even a choice between the two.
Because
Try them both. Just do what you enjoy.
and do what you love.
So I think the gi versus no gi thing is more for the guys who are at least. And they need to decide. And the way I think about this is like, if I was to use an analogy, I use cars and automatic transmissions versus manual, right? So whichever one is easier for you, whichever one you like, do that. As a casual, right?
Yeah.
As a person who's commuting to work, just get the one that
you
right
like
for you
and
just go for it.
Yeah.
If you're a competitive driver, now you got decisions to make and you're like, stuff matters, right?
Yeah.
So get the best one, again, that you're good at. And then now doesn't work perfectly because it's not fascinating. But what I'm trying to say is if you're like competing at an elite level, then you need to pick one.
Yeah.
And just bury yourself in it.
And just keep on that.
Yeah. But if you're not,
flow with both.
Have fun, man.
Have fun, do both.
Have fun. Have fun, learn one. See if you can translate that skill onto the other one. And if you can't, work out why. And just solve the puzzle, man. Just chill. Don't be so psyched. Don't take everything so seriously.
Don't worry about it so much. So, posing a new question about it then. Obviously, in its day, there was only the gi, and then the no-gi adaptation comes. Do you view them so far different from each other now that they're different sports? Or do you think that they're still in the same realm?
So then it depends on where we are, right? As the amateur guy who's just training, I don't think it's so different.
Okay.
Yeah, because fundamentally it's jiu-jitsu. Fundamentally. But once we start competing and we're getting to that level, now it matters.
Yeah.
So there are definitely grips and stuff like that you can do on one that you can't do on two. And you need to, if you're competing at a decent level, then focus. Pick one and focus on it.
Yeah. Okay. See, I think I wouldn't say that they're two different sports, but they definitely have different things that you would do and not do.
At an elite level, probably are pretty much different.
Yeah. It's like, for me, I enjoy playing guard, right? I love sitting back, trying to keep them in and trying to play and up, going for shoulder snaps, etc., etc.
I no longer like you.
What, because I play guard? That's it. So, if I'm going to that, it is 100% easier to do that in a gi, right?
Yeah.
And it's just because you've got that lapel grip, you can drag them down, it's just easier to grip everywhere, right? Now, would I still try and play guard in no-gi? Yes. But I know it's got a lot less chance of working as opposed to top pressure, right?
Yeah.
So it's that argument. But I see what you mean, definitely, about if you're amateur, play both and stuff like that and just enjoy it, whatever you like.
Don't make it too early.
True. Very true.
Constrain yourself so early.
Enjoy it. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I think there was one other question, and it was actually about grip strength.
Oh.
So, if you're looking to, well, let's broaden it then. So, let's say you're wanting to get stronger for specifically BJJ. Is there anything that you can do outside of BJJ that will keep you going, that will improve it? Because I definitely have a problem with this, right?
So if we answer the grip strength question first, and then we'll go generic. I don't think I've developed my grip strength.
You don't think you have?
No.
I'm gonna have to disagree. Your grips are horrible, man.
Yeah, I think it's more genetic than anything else.
Yeah.
Because my grandfather on my mum's side he competed in the Olympics in the hammer.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. And he got to the group stages for Pakistan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I get a lot of my strength-based genetics from that side.
Yeah.
Because he was a towering man. Yeah. Even so, I only met him obviously when he was in the later stage of life, but he was a towering, strong, powerful man even then.
Yeah.
I think I get my grip strength from then because I've been weight training for a long time. So I started weight training probably before I did any sort of combat.
Yeah.
So I used to, back in the days, I didn't have weight. There used to be these encyclopedias and I just used to bicep curl them.
Bicep curl encyclopedias.
Yeah.
Coach gets a book and he decides to curl it instead.
That's what we used to do, man. We just used to go down like, oh, this is the heavy thing I got.
Yeah.
And we used to do everything like press it and curl it. We would like come home from school and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I've always been into like fitness and stuff like that. So because I've been doing that stuff since I've been young, I think some strength comes from that stuff because I've been doing it for a long time. But I haven't ever done any grip specific training.
Yeah.
The only thing I can think of that would have increased my strength would be deadlifting.
Right. Okay.
That's the only time you really need to keep hold of the bar.
So then going on to the generic side of it, let's say powerlifting.
So I think a lot of people are very under, they haven't reached their potential.
Yeah.
And people are going to the gym without really a program. And I think this was my initial problem with Jiu-Jitsu, right? I was doing Jiu-Jitsu, but I wasn't studying Jiu-Jitsu. And when I come back, now I started studying Jiu-Jitsu, and that's why the love comes.
Yeah.
And I think there'll be a lot of people, but me personally, I need to study something that I'm doing rather than just do it. And that's why when I came back, I was like, what was I missing? And I'm missing the fact that I wasn't studying Jiu-Jitsu.
Got you.
Right? And I realized actually I did it with powerlifting. I do it with my job. The one thing I don't study is Jiu-Jitsu.
Got you.
Started studying Jiu-Jitsu, started enjoying it, started making progress. And if you were going to study something, I genuinely recommend everyone who hasn't done any powerlifting before, hasn't done anything, get onto the starting strength.
Yeah.
It's free resource, starting strength. And I'm not sponsored by them or all like that. I just know their work. The worst thing is it's hard. Yeah. It's hard. But there are no shortcuts, man. I've been in Jiu-Jitsu for a long time. Loads of fads have come. I've been like physical exercise for a long time. There's so many things which come and go. But the ones that are true, the ones that are hard. Yeah. You know what I mean? You got to put in the hard reps. you got to grind through them.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be stupid about it.
Yeah.
But like, if something comes and says, "I'm gonna make your jiu-jitsu better in 30 days," just press next.
Press next. It's not the one.
It's not the one, man. Just press next. Make you stronger in like 6 minutes
Mm-hmm.
every day. Press next.
Next.
Yeah.
It's not the one, Chief. Go through the hard yards.
Just do the reps. It'll make you better. It'll make you mentally tougher.
Yeah.
I remember so before I started science strength, my 1 rep max was about 140, 150 on the squat.
Okay.
And I remember.
Is that a good squat or bad squat? Because I genuinely don't have a clue.
It's an okay squat.
Uh-huh.
And I remember.
What is that noise?
Like something's gonna explode.
Yeah. Should we double check it?
In 1 second.
Cool.
So I remember getting under the bar at 140, and I had to rep this for 3 sets of 5.
Mm-hmm.
And mentally, I was like, "This is my 1 rep max.
Yeah.
I can't do 3 sets of this. Never mind. I can't do 1 set of 5."
Mm-hmm.
And I remember this mental technique that I'd read online. Like, just think about the 1 rep.
Yeah.
Just do this 1 next rep, and everything else will be okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that 1 rep, and I'm like, "Oh, that was all right."
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, "Okay, just 1 more rep."
Yeah.
And before I knew it, I did 3 sets of 5.
3 sets.
And I was just like, "Okay, maybe this mental technique actually works."
Mm-hmm.
So, and I do that for jiu-jitsu now, right? So you go into comps and you're like, "Oh man, I got like this 4 matches until the final," and like you think you're worrying about all the other matches. And you're like, "Hang on a second, let me just get through this one."
Yeah, just the next one.
Just
1 more.
Just do the next one, and then we'll deal with it.
Uh-huh.
The next one, and we'll deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you got to do sometimes. You got to do the next one, and then we'll just deal with it.
Yeah, and just keep it going. Oh. Yeah, let's go check that. I feel like it sounds over in the corner, but I don't know. Is it Cody kicking off? Is that all it was? Say that again? Yeah, you're magic. So, powerlifting and grip strength for BJJ, right? Cool.
So I think if you want to increase it, deadlift.
Mm-hmm.
Do all your non-working sets without any assistance, so no straps.
Okay.
Over.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I feel my strongest improvement in grip strength has been.
Mm-hmm.
But if you haven't got the genetics, I'm sorry, I don't know.
I don't know what to do.
I don't know what to do. I just think I think my granddad just
gave you the genes. So what we're saying is it's my granddad's fault, the hairdresser, and that's why I ain't got the good grip strength. Well, yeah, I suppose, but they're only doing that, aren't they? It's not compared to the Pakistan group stage hammer thrower. I know who I'd put my money on. Do you know what I mean? So, moving on from that then, should we talk philosophical for a second?
Oh, okay.
So, my big thing, one of the reasons why I love this game is the philosophy behind it, right? There's a lot of good philosophy about people, especially being like smaller and things like that.
Yep.
And the smaller guy can beat the bigger guy.
Yep.
There's good systems, there's good techniques. It all just like seems to flow, right? Mm-hmm. It's got good culture and everything like that. What would be your favorite part about it? I know that you said before just then that you love the study of it, right?
Yep. 100%.
So, is there anything else with that? Is that the only thing that you love most about it?
Just the fact that it's not a system, right? So, for example, I'll give you and I think part of my love for it is the fact that I've been to other martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember if we go back to the traditional jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
So I learned move X, Y, and Z.
Mm-hmm.
I got my next belt.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's taken me this long to get my black belt in BJJ, I think it made me want it more.
Yeah. The fact that it wasn't going to be given to you easy. This has to be earned, right?
I had to earn it.
Yeah.
I had to prove myself. I had to keep coming. No one's gonna post me if I don't turn up.
Yeah.
And okay, in my Japanese jiu-jitsu, no one's gonna post me if I don't turn up. But I knew if I turned up to the grading, I got a belt.
Yeah.
In here, up until very recently, there was no grading. I didn't get grading for my blue belt. I didn't get grading for my purple belt. Yeah. So it was just, and we didn't really do grading for the other two belts. It was more ceremony than an actual grading, right? I didn't have to know this move.
Yeah.
Nothing like that had to happen. So I think that side of it, the fact that no one's gonna stroke your ego.
No, say what?
And give you a belt, give you anything.
Yeah.
Either you're gonna be at the level,
or you're not.
Or you're not.
And you just keep working on it from that, right?
If you're not, then just you gotta accept the fact and just carry on.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that I love about BJJ. You gotta put the work in.
Yeah, it's very black and white in that sense, isn't it? It's either you are or you're not. Yeah. But then it's also the game that is forever changing, right?
Yes.
So when you actually look at, I forget this. Can you put it on for me, actually? So as you're going through with BJJ, so let's say we start with the 90s, the Gracie family, and we've done some research on this, right? We did that for another project. Now, the thing is with that is at that time there's no leg locking, no, not all very little.
It's frowned upon.
It's frowned upon. So the game now has changed so much that people will just not even bother passing guard and shooting leg locks. Yes. How do you feel about that? Because I don't see a problem in it one bit, right? But I know that there's a couple of people that are very traditional.
So, do I see a problem with people who are not passing the guard and shooting leg locks?
Yeah.
No, as long as they know how to pass it.
Yes.
So, one thing that I try not doing is teaching white belts. I don't teach them foot locks. I try not making that the first.
Yeah.
Because the guard is much harder to pass than to catch a foot lock and then play that game, right? So, I want the white belts and even the blue belts to learn how to pass the guard. As they get to blue belts, they can specialize if they want on leg locks.
Yeah.
Go for it. Especially in the early days, you've got to learn how to pass the guard. So you are mind someone just snapping up a leg lock.
Nah.
Because one thing you've got to do in jiu-jitsu is what's the most efficient path of victory, right?
Yeah. Which
if you're grabbing a leg and going, grab a leg and go.
Yeah.
But if you can't pass the guard, and that's the only game.
Yeah.
That's when
yeah.
I studied the leg myself.
Yeah.
If you don't, then
you're gonna get caught. You're gonna get caught. Yeah. So, in that case, then, what would you say? And I don't really know how to word this one. So, talking about the game, like going forward and ever flowing, what do you think BJJ would need to develop next to take it on to the next stage?
So, I think the thing that's coming now is people are trying to make it more spectator friendly.
Yes.
Because if you look at BJJ, if you look at the events that are going on, predominantly the people at the events are either BJJ people, or people linked to them, like a wife, partner, kids of the person. So you see the people who are doing it, or people who have some direct interest. They're not really fans of BJJ that don't do BJJ, like MMA.
Yeah.
I know there are football. Not all football fans play football.
Yeah, that's true.
But you get a packed stadium.
Yeah.
So I think that's the next where people are trying to take it.
As a spectator sport.
There are organizations which are trying to make it an Olympic sport. Now, I think from a development perspective, that's good. But I'm also worried. Worried isn't the right word. What's my worrying going to do?
Yeah.
But I'm also concerned, let's say, that when the Olympic committee start getting involved in it, they change it.
Yeah.
So look at the way judo's changed, and the rules of judo have changed to make
Just explain that to me, because I'm not all too familiar with judo.
Okay, so as the years have gone on, the rules of judo have changed to basically, so now you're only allowed 30 seconds on the ground.
Okay.
So if there's a takedown and you don't get a hip punch, so you don't get the win, the person will follow you to the ground, but only for 30 seconds. I'm going to try submitting you in 30 seconds. If there's no action, they're stood up.
Yeah.
Because the ground game isn't seen as friendly. Now you only allowed to do grip break with one hand. I can't do two-handed grip break anymore.
Right.
Because if people keep breaking grips, there's not as many throws.
Okay.
So now it's harder to break grips.
Yeah.
Now from a viewership point of view, beautiful.
Yeah.
You get more throws.
But
from a development point of view, in my opinion, like if you've got a grip on me and I break this, I'd rather have the ability to break it and you counter it, like than going here and me having to deal with this grip in this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm taking something away from the sport that I can quite easily. I can just grip it.
Yeah.
Also, now in judo, you're not allowed to grab the legs.
Okay.
At old school, you could. So double leg and single leg in judo.
Right.
Whereas it should be. Why can't I double leg?
Why can't you double leg, especially with yours being so good at that? You know what I mean? I know that one all too well.
So stuff like that which concern me, like jiu-jitsu gonna turn up like that.
Yeah.
With positions that are banned. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Are they gonna say, well, you can't foot lock because everyone's just coming on foot locking and it's dangerous. You can't do it.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be fair to the sport either because it's perfectly viable and we know it works, right? There's systems for it.
That's the concern.
Yeah.
But as soon as you become an Olympic sport, you get a lot more money into it.
So you get more funding.
And then the uptake, because people see it on TV, the uptake goes up.
Viewership and everything.
Yeah, so with money becomes more viewership, more participation.
But you don't want to sell parts of it for that as well. This is the thing, right?
Are you going to sell your soul?
Yes. That thing, isn't it? Yeah.
They're the concerns when we start talking about the Olympic committee and becoming an Olympic sport.
Yeah. But I think with it as well, like, I know that there's a few organisations now that are actually like streaming it and things like that. So you've got things like Flow Grappling, you've got One Championship that are going through with a league system. So it's definitely on the rise because the only way that you could see jiu-jitsu, other than these old videos of like the greats doing it on YouTube in like 1990s and with these big cameras as well and the quality's so bad, but hey, well, that's the times. The only time you could really see proper jiu-jitsu was in the UFC. But even then, they're like hitting each other with it and things like that. So it's not as fluid as it would be, right? It's not pure jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
So the viewership's definitely going up because there's actually a way to view it now, right?
Yeah. I think Flow have done a massive, like, people have issues with Flow because of the cost. Yeah.
The cost?
The cost of the subscription for Flow.
Okay.
Yeah. And typically you have to pay for the year and all that sort of stuff. But what they've done for the sport is massive.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's far more eyes on it now, right?
100%.
Like, I couldn't tell you who Gordon Ryder was before I first started. There was no chance. And like that's like the biggest name at the current moment in time, right? 100%.
So I think Flow have done a massive amount for spreading of knowledge and stuff like that. And BJJ, loads of them have done really well.
Yeah.
So I think viewership is going up. It's just that next level. Like, do we really want to become an Olympic sport? Now, I'm glad I'm not in the position to have any influence over that. Because that's a hard decision.
Yeah.
And the people making it, best of luck to you. But yeah, that's a whole interesting dynamic that we're going to end up going into the next, hopefully, couple of years.
Yeah. You think next 2-3 years, maybe something like that, they start talking about that?
Well, they're trying now.
They're trying now?
Yeah, there's organizations trying now.
Yeah.
They've been trying for a while. It's just what rule set are you going to use? What's going to be interesting, not interesting? Could have an Olympic champion in BJJ. Could
have one in this gym, you never know. Could be bigger bass going in and flying in. So yeah.
Mustafa's going to be so pissed you didn't say.
Yeah, he is. He's going to be absolutely fuming. Do you know what? I did that on purpose. Let me look at the camera.
Not that camera.
Not that camera. This camera. That camera. No, that one's off. Masab. I did that on purpose. He's going to be fuming at that one. I can't wait to see his reaction with that. But, so moving on with it then. Philosophy-wise, if it didn't become an Olympic sport, do you think it will get somewhere near the UFC? If it didn't go into its own Olympic sport, if it just stayed as it is right now, but it kept on being televised and things like that, it started getting streamed.
I would think it can work. So never say never.
Never say never.
But the current trajectory is not going anywhere near.
Nah, it's not there yet, is it? But
because we need someone like Dana White. Bro,
yeah.
We haven't got Dana White. No, one might turn up tomorrow.
You never know.
And he's like, I'm going to do this for the sport.
Yeah.
And if that happens, then there's nothing stopping it.
Uh-huh.
Well, there is quite a few things stopping it. But he just, he's got the vision and he's got the resources behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah. If Dana White turns around and says, okay, I don't do the UFC, I'm going to make a Jiu-Jitsu thing and I'm going to do this and this with it.
Uh-huh.
People of that ilk who have the business acumen, have the fight knowledge, have the contacts.
Yeah. Okay. You know what, Coach? I think that is me all out of questions. I'm trying to think of something else because I want to carry on. I think that is me all done and dusted. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about before we end it?
No.
Cool, man. Sweet.